AFP. France says the US and Britain are providing support for its military intervention in Mali to help the government regain the north from rebels. Paris has already acknowledged that the militants have turned out to be better armed than it had initially thought. The operation has raised fears of an African quagmire in a new front on the West's war on terror, just as Western nations emerge from the old one in Afghanistan. Let's now talk to RT's Polly Boyka. She's standing by for us in London right now. And Polly, it's good to see you today. What started as basically a French-led military campaign now seems to be turning into a fully fledged intervention. What exactly is the role of Britain and America in this operation?
Well, Britain and the US are reportedly providing help with transport and communications and logistics, so that means that they're providing transport and planes to help carry troops. However, we've also heard that the US is providing surveillance drones in order to track the movements of the rebels in northern Mali. And of course, it's not just Britain and the US now. We've heard that a number of other European countries, including Denmark, are pledging their support for the French military offensive in the region. So it is growing quite quickly. And, you know, by Sunday, we've already had hundreds of French military personnel taking part in the operation. Officials say that French airstrikes were targeting rebel forces, rebel strongholds and logistical points. However, human rights groups are already counting a number of civilian casualties, with 3 children dead since Friday. And of course, this is quite a departure from Francois Hollande's promise to kind of step away from the very paternalistic ties that France used to have with former African colonies. In fact, for all their differences with Nicolas Sarkozy, he's been just as quick to jump into a military intervention in Mali as Nicolas Sarkozy was to jump into a military intervention in Libya 2 years ago. So a lot of political experts saying that it could be a way of trying to ratchet up his political polls and his approval ratings, because apparently those have been plummeting ever since he was elected as president last year.
Well, certainly there are many that are already saying that Francois Hollande has jumped into this very, very quickly, and it really has escalated over the past few days. As you said, at least 3 children among at least 11 civilians being killed. Already hearing what you mentioned a moment ago about the colonial comparisons being made, but truly, what is France trying to achieve in Mali?
Well, the north of Mali has been under the control of Islamic militant groups that have links to al-Qaeda for almost a year now. And it's an area the size of France. They've imposed Sharia law there. So ostensibly, it's a response to the Mali government's request for help in trying to sort of hold back these rebel advances of going further into Mali. But of course, many experts are linking this crisis to sort of the Libyan legacy and what happened in Libya, because the Tuareg people, who traditionally came from northern Mali, they actually made up a large portion of Muammar Gaddafi's army in Libya. And after the very brisk military intervention there to topple Gaddafi, many of these Tuaregs actually returned to their native northern Mali. They took with them a lot of weapons, and a lot of Gaddafi's military arsenal has kind of uncontrollably been flowing into Mali now. And what we've got is actually we've got a number of Islamist groups, and these Tuaregs have actually been taken over by other Islamist jihadists, but they're all, you know, very strong now in the north of Mali. And lots of experts are just saying that this is a real consequence of what happened in Libya. All these weapons that are now being used by the rebels did come in from Libya, and the French have been, as you said, extremely surprised by just how advanced and how technologically advanced the rebels' weapons are. So this is just day 4 of what is now an international conflict, and unfortunately a lot of experts are saying that if these al-Qaeda-linked Islamist groups band together, and if they sort of join forces, this could turn into a much larger, more protracted, fuller-scale war than anybody sort of expected, with many more civilian casualties, unfortunately.
And Polly, as you say, only 4 days into it at this point, and as you mentioned as well, the French officials are surprised by how well-armed the rebels are, and indeed also, as you touched on moments ago, that a lot of the ones that were trained by the US, as you said, defected when they were needed most, are taking troops, guns and trucks and their newfound skills basically to the enemy in the heat of battle. And according to Pentagon officials, the US has spent upwards of $600 million there in recent years trying to suppress the militant movement there. All right, RT's Polly Boyka, I'm sure we'll be talking to you in the near future live in London. Thank you.
Thank you.